Hey guys, it's Morpheus. I'm going to be running through the all cards expert route just to help anyone out who wants to try and run this category. This is the route that does junior skip at the start of the run and clippy boots before chapter 7. So I won't be going too in-depth aside from some route changes and why we do certain rooms the way we do them. I also have my input display up here so that I can show you how to do certain rooms, because some of them are tricky. But I won't be talking too much. Disclaimer though, if the audio sounds kind of crackly, that's OBS's fault. And I don't want to re-record it. So, yeah. I guess I should also mention the reason there's only game feed and no splits on the side is because I redid my layouts, and as a result, I had messed up the entire layout for the recording, so there are no splits. This run ended around with a 2:58, just to give a frame of reference of what the time is. That's the big reason there's only gameplay. So for pretty much every fight in this game, well, not the fights after prologue, but in prologue you see here me mashing A here. If you press A right when Mario squats to do his jump attack, you can cancel the squat animation. Once you get Lucky Star, you have to time these A presses, but you can save 10 frames on every jump attack in the game, so if you want to go for it, go for it. If not, don't. Because if you mess up an action command, you'll more than likely lose whatever fight you're in. So only go for them if you feel comfortable doing it. Whenever you see that chapter title / screen, just mash A and start. It's the fastest way to clear it. So after you do Junior Skip, you're going to want to get this bush coin here, and these 10 block coins. And then grab the coin outside. This is the setup for all the items we're going to buy in Chapter 1, since Mario's pretty weak right now. I'm gonna grab this Goom Nut here so that you can heal after the Goomba Bros fight coming up. Since we skipped fighting Junior, we don't have to hit the heart block. So this fight with Goomba King's pretty unique in that you can interact with the environment around it. So we're gonna take advantage of that. So you're gonna power jump as normal with Mario, but with Goombario you're gonna head bonk that bandage on the tree. And then you'll just keep hitting Goomba King with power jump and head bonk. You don't have to do this at all, but if you scroll down to continue don't save, it saves a few frames every time you have to do it, but I wouldn't recommend it if you're starting out. Also save as much as you can. Main reason being for saving, I should have pointed out, once you start getting to around chapter 5 in this category, there are instances where you can just lose your run because of RNG, where you straight up game over. So this mainly happens with a lot of the chapter bosses. I'll point out which ones can do that when we get to them. Hit B here to skip these tutorials from Twink. It's like about a minute long if you watch them. And we don't have to worry about FP here, so you can do double power jump on this Magic Koopa. So coming up is Black Toad Skip. The basic explanation of it is you're gonna clip out of bounds using this moving green toad, land in the post office to the right, and then maneuver out of bounds to land on a seam, so you can jump past the black toads to the right to enter chapter 1. Alternatively, you can just talk to the Black Toads. Talk to Merlin and then go back to the Black Toads. It saves about a minute or so. Do not forget this fright jar. Any items that you see me picking up will be required for the route. After this dialogue is over, you're gonna spin over to the shop and buy 2 POW blocks and then 2 fire flowers. You want to make sure to try and practice this minigame if you can. The last couple jumps are really quick, and if you mess them up, there's a chance you get a random encounter, which is not ideal since the experience routing in this category is very tight. So you don't want to take any extra fights. I should mention after getting that bush coin, the coin routing is perfect for this part of the run. You end chapter 1 with 50 coins, so you want to try to make sure to not miss any or get into any extra encounters. If you do get into some extra encounters, there are some backup coins, but they're really out of the way. You can do things like grabbing extra items on Pleasant Path here to sell in Toad Town. There's also a bush coin in the first screen of Koopa Village you can get if you're only short 1. But if you're short more than 3 or so, I think the best backup is to go to the harbor all the way to the left in Tow Town and hitting the 10 coin block until you get 50. So this is staircase skip. This is done to skip some cutscenes and skip some fights as well. Very much required for the route to work out, since it skips out a fight with that Koopa that we passed by. You want to make sure to not hit the switch out of bounds, or you'll have to reload a save or something. Since there is no other way to get back up here. So we're gonna click Fire Flower here. This gets rid of the bombs immediately. And we need to preserve our FP for the next room, so we're gonna Body Slam. And I guess I'll start explaining it now, since my PB, or this run here, got bad RNG. That's good for later, I'll explain that honey syrup. But this first strike that I'm gonna try to go for is RNG, depending on how this guy flies around. I end up missing it because he doesn't notice me immediately. But if you check out any top run in this category, you can figure out what I was trying to go for there. But in the event that you do miss this first strike, there is a backup for it. It is slower, but doesn't cost too much time. I'm gonna power jump that Paratroopa Body Slam. And because we have to preserve FP for our bomb usage in one of the fights, you're gonna have to jump, Body Slam, and jump again. The alternative is to use your Thunder Rage on the Paratroopa, but I'm not entirely sure if it's faster to use here or to save it for Junior Troopa later on, since that's never been timed. If your Fright Jar fails here, you would do the same thing that I did in the previous fight. For this first strike, you want to make sure to jump over that Koopa as he sees you, and then press C down when Bombette lands. If you do it any earlier, Bombette will stutter in the air, and you'll probably get first struck by the Koopa. Level up FP here. Make sure to grab all of these coins. If you want to play it safe, you can not do what I did and just wait for all the coins to spawn and then grab them. What I did is just a bit faster, but it can be RNG if some of the coins fly too far to the right and you end up missing them. But that's pretty rare. I've probably had it happen twice ever in the year and a half I grinded this game. High jumps here are pretty simple, but they can lose a lot of time if you fail them. You're basically going to walk to the edge of the platform and tap down until you see the camera shift forward, or backwards rather. And then you'll just jump over, jump left, hold up left. For the rooftop here, after the first wave of bullets that I spun at, the rest of them are RNG. So if you want to take it slow, it's definitely the play, since if you get encountered, your coins are going to go flying everywhere. And that sucks to recover from. Here we do double POW block. This is for experience purposes, and it's fast. Do know that if you did get a Fright Jar fail, you have to hit the heart block before entering this door. Any discrepancies with the route that are changed because of RNG will be notated in the route. Like if you got a Fright Jar fail, you would also level up on that paratroopa fight, and it'll tell you that you're gonna level up. So if there's any weird RNG that happens later on in the run, it'll be in the route. So you're just gonna power jump, bomb, power jump. Bowser here. Then once the next phase starts, you're just gonna bomb and maneuver around your items to hit POW block and fire flower. The POW block keeps them stunned on the floor for a turn. Master this text, and whenever you get asked for a prompt, just hit A. This is the last tutorial sequence in the run. He's gonna ask you to, if you wanna learn about Star Secret powers, just hit B twice. So that honey syrup drop I got in Chapter 1 can be good coming up for the sewer segment of the run. Coming up pretty soon. Because you need a couple of FP healing items. But I did grab this extra one here. Since if the RNG was unfavorable in the sewers, it would save time to grab this one over a Strange Leaf in Chapter 3. So here on turn 1, you're going to want to use your Thunderbolt here. This overlaps the cutscene of him talking with the animation, so Mario doesn't have to walk as far. After that, you would just do bomb, power jump, bomb. So now we're going to be going to Ralph's shop to buy Speedy Spin. I'm pretty sure I get lucky here and get first try Speedy. Right. So in the event that you don't see Speedy Spin here, what you're going to want to do is come down here to this room, and instead of going down like I am, you're going to go to the left and go to that room with the Toad Town shop. Then you're going to run back and reload the Ralph's Bat shop. Every time you go 2 loading screens away, the badge pool resets and is changed. So that's the fastest way to do it. Make sure you hit this heart block. At some point before you leave Chapter 2, you must hit that heart block. So we only need one whack-a-bump, so it's fastest to do it right here. There is some alternative movement you can do here instead of doing this trick called rock climb. You can go around the other way. This just saves a couple of seconds, but not necessary at all. No damage dodge needed, since the setup we're going to be doing for the final Bowser fight doesn't require it. So coming up, I'm going to be doing a trick called Early Seed. The gist of it is you remap the neutral on your control stick, so that you get a good angle to clip into this wall that's down below. But this is really precise and honestly kind of annoying. But if you don't want to do that, you can always just run back to get Paracarry and use him to fly over the gap. So if for whatever reason you forget to hit the heart block here, your next best option would be to go back to Toad Town and rest at the inn so that Mario's at full FP. But if you didn't do that, you can go straight away to doing Blue House Skip. This lets us get into the sewers and access Chapter 5 early, which is really the whole reason this route even works. Or any glitch route of this game works, to be honest. There's multiple methods for this trick. I do the fastest one since that's what I'm used to. But you can LZS into the house. You can lure the NPC toads to clip into the wall, like Black Toad Skip. Mess around and see what's comfortable for you. This fight's fairly simple. You're just gonna bounce on him as much as you can. And depending on the bounces you get, you're either gonna shell shot or skydive. The general rule of thumb is if you get at least 12, you want to try to shell shot. And aim for a 13 bounce after. But if your bounces get cut short for whatever reason and you feel unconfident, you can click refresh. And heal some FP and HP back. So we're gonna level up FP again here. So we're gonna spin past this guy here, Colorado. And the only reason we're doing this is because this is the only way to activate getting sushi, is to initiate this cutscene. Get this jam and jelly, it's very important that you grab this. We're gonna get Power Quake here to help out with some fights. This guy's annoying. I like to jump over him when he sees me. But if he's too far away, you're gonna have to react to that and wait and delay your jump just a little bit. You can also spin around him, but I've always found trouble with that. For all 3 of these Dark Koopa fights coming up, you're gonna get First Struck, so that you can manipulate getting into peril. And if you get an FP drop or a POW block on this fight, after the fight's over, then you can just go on to the next fight immediately, but if you don't get either one, you have to eat a honey syrup. Here I get a POW block, so I don't have to worry about eating my honey syrup. So I'm gonna POW block here, switch to Cooper. Then Power Quake, Power Shell. You want to make sure to not grab any hearts here since you want to stay in peril. Grabbing 1 heart is okay, but only 1. Any more than 1 is time lost. So we're gonna double Power Quake again here, switch the Bombat. And after this fight, you would ideally get 2 FP drops. And if you don't, what you would end up doing as the backup is getting a Strange Leaf outside of the mansion. So this is record skip coming up. This is done with NPC pushing and then getting a very precise angle to get in between the boo and the chest. If you don't want to do this, you can just play the record minigame by getting the record first and then putting the record into the record player. So coming up here, I'm going to be doing Stanley save. This skips the Tubba Blubba cutscene of him eating Stanley. But you don't have to do this at all. You can just trigger the cutscene like normal and proceed on. Just saves a little bit of time. This club here to the left is RNG with where he spawns, so it won't always be looking like that. Sometimes it'll be pretty easy, and other times it'll look scary like that. You'll just have to react to it. But you can play it safe and bait him really far down. I'm gonna upgrade Paracarry here since he's gonna be dealing a lot of the damage for us in this chapter. Get caught here, it's faster than running all the way back to the entrance. So I didn't have to eat my honey syrup in the sewers before or after the first fight or after the third fight. But in the event that you get a strange leaf, that would be the best place to eat it. Or any place that you open a lock in front of, so you can overlap both cutscenes. If you're not confident doing this quickly, you can just use bow to get through that room. And then jump on top of the treasure chest onto the spikes instead. So that badge we picked up was Mega Rush. When Mario's at 1 health, his attack goes up by 4. So it's going to be used a lot. In a lot of different ways. So make sure to not miss it. There's a trick you can do here called Yaki Trick Shot, but I don't go for it. Since if you mess up the text box management, you can soft lock your game, and then your run's over. I think it saves about 12 or 15 seconds if you do it right. And if you do it suboptimally, it saves around 2 or 3. So definitely not worth starting out. So this is quick escape. You can save a little bit of time by carry hovering over to this beam, the support pillar here. Doesn't save too much, but it's not too hard to get. And the movement I did entering that room is very consistent, and as long as you do it, you'll never get caught by Tubba. That text box there is RNG. Even if you move as fast as you can, sometimes you'll get sniped by it, and there's nothing you can do. If you haven't already eaten your honey syrup or strange leaf, you're gonna want to do it at the windmill to overlap this cutscene with opening the lock, because you need at least 9 FP. 9 FP, yeah. We're gonna re-equip here. Take off Power Quake and Speedy for Power Bounce and Mega Rush. With Mega Rush equipped now, since we've been at 1 HP the whole time, we'll be doing a lot of damage to the heart. We only need to deal 45 out of his 50 health. So there's a few different ways this fight can go, but as long as you don't mess up your Power Bounce, or any of your action commands really, you'll always win. In the event that you have 9 FP, and this happens, Skydive will be a perfect kill, so you have to make sure to not miss that action command. And for the Tubba fight, it's as simple as jump times 2. If for whatever reason you missed the jump command, you can kill with Shell Shot, but if you don't have enough for a Shell Shot, you're pretty much dead. So, don't miss that. So with that fight over, we're going to level up BP. And we're going to re-equip Speedy Spin and Power Quake. And this will be the first card LZS of the run. So you don't necessarily have to do this one. You can, for the sake of speed. But if you don't feel comfy doing it for some reason, then you can opt out of it. But with the way this routing is, you're expected to do at least one card LZS for this route because of Clippy Boots near the end of the run. And coming up now, we're gonna do Raphael skip. This trick is a little weird, but you're going to use Paracarry to hover out of bounds, and then jump around this loading zone behind the bush. And then spin on the seam until you reach the volcano. This skips pretty much having to save the Yoshis in the entire jungle. I moved up there to try and make sure I'm as far on the seam as possible. Hold up out of bounds and fall down right. So if you don't mess up here, like I just did, you can make this platform cycle. It saves about 15 seconds. But you have to be careful about it because you can't buffer your spin out of that cutscene or else you'll fall straight into the lava. I just mistimed my Z press. I did it much later than I should have, but if you try to buffer the spin too early, you'll go straight into the lava and you won't be able to jump out of it. So you can... There is the volcano jump there, but it's slower to do it in this route because we have to grab Fire Shield. So it's not worth doing at all in this route. This here is Lava Puzzle Skip. If you clip onto the very corner, you can just fall down like that. So in this room, you're gonna burn yourself until you get to 1 HP. You want to mash either the item or partner menu to get rid of the invincibility frames. This is also another peril minute for Lava Piranha coming up. This is Flare Carry. You can do it from far away to save some time and skip that cutscene, but you want to just line up with that line on the wall and hover into it. This is one of the first bosses that can straight up game over you if you get unlucky enough. So, you might want to save just in case. There's a good amount of variance in this fight, but it's very hard to lose this fight. You have to get really unlucky to lose. But there's a lot of variation to it, and it'll all be listed in the route. So with a 4 cap, I go for the untimed belly flop. If you want to play it extra safe, you can time that belly flop in case you get 3 capped after. Don't block any of these attacks, so you can get back into peril. So with a 4 and a 5, you can do 2 untimed belly flops to kill. But if you get a 5 cap on the first turn and get 4, you have to time your belly flop. The idea is to deal 40 damage, so... This is phase 2. You're gonna squirt with Sushi turn 1 to douse the flames. And here you just go for a 4 bounce and a 3 bounce to kill. Very, very hard fight to lose when it comes to the RNG. The 3 caps that I mentioned are only 2% likely to happen. Each individual one. And you have to get more than 1, I believe, to straight up game over. But it is a possibility, so if you want to save, I would encourage it. You want to be careful of this guard here. He's pretty tricky. But once you enter this quiz room, The answers for all of the questions are 1 except the final question, which is 2. So the main reason we do Chapter 5 as early as we do, and the card order being the way it is from this point on, is so that all the chapters we enter are pretty much finished. Because of the way story triggers work in this game. So once we get this magical seed from Colorado, we'll be going to Chapter 4, then Chapter 2, and then back to Chapter 6. So the order in which you go to these stations is very particular, because what we're going to be doing with this next train ride is we're going to be fixing the tracks next to Blue Station. So we're going to Pink Station right now, and we're going to be stopped to fix these tracks. And this is because right now, we're in a post-Chapter 4 state, so we can't beat General Guy, we can't get Watt, we can't fight Lantern Ghost. So to fix that, we're going to fix these tracks first, to give us a way back to the end of Chapter 4. And now that we're on our way to Pink Station, we're going to get the frying pan that's over to the right side of this room. And the frying pan is a story trigger upon picking it up to put you in a Chapter 4 state. So once we pick up the frying pan, the game is gonna think, oh, we're in a Chapter 4 state. So it's gonna put back General Guy and Lantern Ghost, and then we can fight them to move on. You'll notice it immediately once we get back to the train, that the train tracks to the right are broken. Which is why we fixed them in front of Blue Station, so we can backtrack to Red. Before you fight Lantern Ghost, hit this heart block. It is very important that you do. The Lantern Ghost is also another boss that can kill you. It's around 2% that you die to this fight because of RNG. So not very likely, but it is a thing. So that Volt Shroom we grabbed is just for this fight. This is so that the RNG isn't like 30% to die, which is nice. So Lantern Ghost is gonna get 2 attacks on us, and then we start power bouncing him. You want to block at least 1. Do nothing, switch to Goombario. Or Bow if you're not confident in using Head Bonk. Now you're gonna hit the Lantern. If you miss that action command with Goombario, I'm pretty sure you're dead. But you're gonna go for 5 bounces here as Mario. If you get 2 4 bounces here, then you die. And there are no backup life shrooms in this point of the run. So your best bet is to reload a save. We're gonna upgrade Watt here. It's gonna make her do a little bit more damage and give her access to Turbocharge, which will be used at the end of the run. I guess I should also mention, since we're fighting General Guy now, after you beat Lantern Ghost, you don't want to heal up. That's because we plan on staying in peril the whole fight. Since we can pretty much one-shot everything in this fight Or kill everything in one turn. Alright, we can't quite kill these guys in one turn, since they have 10 health. But you're gonna jump ×2, one of them is Mario, and then you're gonna power shock the other. And that'll give you the time to set up on him to kill. I didn't make mention of it in Chapter 3, but there's a repel gel that you want to grab on the way to Tubba's castle. That's for this fight here, because General Guy is pretty tanky. So we're gonna use that here. If it says to grab it in the route, then you're gonna want to do that. Bounce ×4 here. And this lightning attack, you don't have to block it, but it's fun. Since Watt is electric based, it won't hurt her at all, even if you miss the block. Once that's over with, level up FP and do the card LZS. So I mentioned that after Chapter 5 we would do Chapter 4 and then Chapter 2, but before going to Chapter 2, we're going to head into Forever Forest. This is because if we go to Chapter 2 immediately, we'll have to talk to Oakley to get past, which is slow. So we're going to do that right now. The directions for the forest will also be in the route. Instead of getting to Chapter 2 the traditional way, we're going to be taking the sewers that go from Dry Outpost, and this is because this skips having to enter the desert from the entrance. If you take the entrance for the first time, that acts as a story trigger, and that would reset you to a Chapter 2 state, and we don't want that. So you don't want to block on this fight. That's because getting Peril is pretty straightforward. You don't block, and then you jump on Blooper to deal 1 damage to yourself. Don't block again, and now you're in Peril. And now you get to bounce away. And there is no RNG in this fight. You're guaranteed at least 6 bounces, which is what you need. Switch to Paracarry. You have the extra FP to Shell Shot, and it's good damage. And he can get rid of the electricity. So since Chapter 2 is in already a completed state at this moment, all of the sand is risen and all these rooms you have to solve normally, so getting the keys is no problem. So for this first Stone Chomp fight, what you want to do is get the Pyramid Stone and then first strike him with a jump. But in the event that you don't get it like this, you're gonna have to click Starstorm. If you do get the first strike, then you can kill jump times 1. Try to not get any heart drops, by the way. The backups for them are kind of sketch. If you get... The best backup is to get first struck by a Buzzy Beetle. If you have 2 health, you block, and if you have 3 health for some reason, then you don't block. But you want to try to avoid any heart drops if possible. Especially because the Buzzy Beetle is a sort of awkward timing to block if you're not used to it. This hammer here puts you just farther left so that you can avoid any of these drops from the fight. So since we're in a state where Chapter 2 is beaten, we have to find a way to reactivate it somehow. That's going to be done with the Super Hammer. This is the reason this route works the way it does, since we use the Super Hammer, but that means we have to do Clippy Boots, which I'll explain later, after Chapter 6. If you don't want to do Clippy Boots, then consider doing the beginner route. It does a different card order to accommodate for that. So now that we have Super Hammer, the game thinks we're in Chapter 2. Upgrade Bombette here for Chapter 6 purposes. Since we need Power Bomb for the moles. So I guess I'll start talking about it now. Since the fight's already pretty easy, I'll go forward and explain the card LZS. This one is required for this route to work because we do need the star power for Chapter 6. And it's pretty weird because of the door frame being so low to the ground. But if you are going to do this route, this is a required card LZS compared to Chapters 3 and 4 cards. With enough practice, it's very doable, but it's definitely the most awkward one to get used to. You want to go for 4 bounces on this power bounce here. If you get unlucky and get only 3, you can switch to Paracarry and kill with jump ×2 skydive on the next turn. Taking a safety save here, just in case you take the card out, the card cutscene. Because it's the quickest one to reset of the 3 that you do in this category. So before planting the seeds to go to Chapter 6, you want to make sure you grab Quick Change from Merlin's house first. For whatever reason, I don't know why. For whatever reason, if you plant the seeds first, then go talk to Merlin, he won't let you into his house. So, make sure to do this first. Otherwise, you'll have to enter Flower Fields, come back outside to grab this. So you want to grab 2 red berries here. This is for after the moles, since you need to heal. Mole order is 1, 3, 4, 2. Up left, up right, bottom left. Upgrade BP here. And the reason for this mole order is because there happens to be 3 here. And for the sake of preserving FP, to not use Power Bomb, you're gonna Power Quake twice here charged. Don't block any of these. These guys have 12 health, so it's a perfect kill. So you want to make sure to not miss this action command. Next fight, pretty easy. Untimed Power Quake Power Bomb. The next mole is annoying. You have to first strike it. Using your hammer is the best bet, since you don't have to guess where it's going to be when you jump. Eat this maple to recover. And hope the mole doesn't troll you. So, we eat this red berry here to get out of peril. This is so... There's a fight coming up where, depending on what RNG you can get hit by a Lakitu. And if you get hit by a Lakitu, it's game over. There is a life stream you can grab in the desert near the oasis if you want to back up extra. Also, if you want to be sure to not die in that room, you can study the input display. What I do there is very consistent. But you want to make sure you're watching how the bee moves and where he ends up after you spin past. So you can opt out for this movement I'm about to do here. It only saves less than a second. But if you're fast enough, you can grab this shooting star to use on the maze fight coming up. But if you're not confident in doing that, you can just use Star Storm instead. This fight is a little bit weird because there is some RNG to it. This is the reason you eat the red berry. So what we're gonna do is shell shot the first Lakitu, then use Shooting Star or Star Storm, whichever you use, And the Lakitu is either gonna spawn a Spiny or throw a Spiny at you. And that changes some things that I'll point out when they become relevant. But since he spawned one here, I'm gonna have to Starstorm. So this affects when you level up at certain points. So instead of leveling up in Chapter 7, you would level up after Huff because of this RNG here. But this RNG is already accounted for, so it's no big deal whether you get it or not, since it works out either way. Grab this Dizzy Dial here. We'll be using it in a little bit. So coming up here, we're going to be going to fight Lackey now. You want to grab this Bubble Berry and give it to the Bubble Plant. You could skip this like I'm doing here, but unless you're going for world record, I wouldn't recommend it. I skipped it here, and I paid pretty dearly for it. I spent about 3 minutes or so doing the early Lackey LZS, but you don't have to do any of this. It only saves 12 seconds, and I'm not gonna make anyone suffer watching through this, so... Where is it? Okay, I'll at least explain what you want to look for if for some reason you want to attempt doing this LZS. So, You see here, Mario is right behind this collision here. If his head doesn't pop up, or if his hat doesn't pop through the ground here, then you're gonna hold up left until he goes off screen from the fall. So here, when Mario disappears off screen, that's when you would return to neutral. But if Mario's head clips through the floor, like I mentioned a moment ago, you want to let go of up left as soon as he starts ascending upward. And then you just jump, hold up right, then hold left out of bounds to get around the loading zone. The only benefit, aside from saving those 12 seconds, is that you don't have to deal with that RNG bee, because if you use the bubble, that bee can first strike you. Very rarely, but sometimes he will just neutral encounter you, which loses 10 seconds, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we equipped Quick Change after the moles, so we can run into this fight with Bombette no problem. But for this fight, you want to make sure you have your blocks down, especially if you didn't grab a life shroom in Chapter 2 before exiting out to Chapter 6. Because all of these blocks, you have to hit all 3 blocks from Lackey. In the event that you miss a block or you don't feel confident, you can try doing some math with Refresh. It heals 5 HP. But I would say just practice the blocks. And if you get 4 capped here, then you can kill with Shell Shot. Since FP doesn't matter up until Huff. This movement's pretty scary past the B. You can use Lackey to ride down if you want. It doesn't lose that much time over what I did. Make sure to grab that Thunder Rage. And that Dizzy Dial from before is important for this fight. It always works on the Lakitus, and has a 75% chance of working on the Magic Koopa. But if it doesn't work, that's okay, because he'll never hit you. That RNG loses about 8 seconds if he doesn't get dizzied, but you won't die from it. If you want to save a little bit of time, you can overlap this cutscene here with the Wacka. But doesn't matter if you miss it or not. Reloading this room and coming back to get super jump charge saves a few seconds for the platform cycle. The fight with Huff coming up is pretty simple. Oh, looks like I forgot what my badge equips were here. I haven't done this route in quite a while. I didn't do it for very long either. But this fight's pretty simple. You're only gonna block one attack. One of the body slam attacks from Huff. And you're gonna charge on Mario's turns until he gets into peril. Block this. Block, then switch the bow. And you're gonna out of sight the wind attack. And so you're gonna bounce for 5 once you get to peril. If you get 4, you can switch to Paracarry and Shell Shot. If you get 3 capped, you reload your save. This is another fight you want to save beforehand for. Since I got that spiny spawn at the base fight, you're gonna level up here. If you didn't get the spiny spawn RNG, you would level up on the first Clubba fight in Chapter 7. So coming up is Clippy Boots. This is the main reason this route is so vastly different than the beginner route. There's a lot of opportunities to soft lock and kill your run here. So once you enter the sewers, I would definitely recommend saving. I'll show off really quick what I use for my visual cue for the lineup on the block. But otherwise, it usually comes down to muscle memory. The trick is frame perfect. For this menuing here, you want to make sure to not hit anything except run away. If you open any other menu, your game is pretty likely to soft lock. I've done it before on the items menu. I don't know if anywhere else does it. But hold on. Okay, I failed it here. I was gonna point out what I use for visual cue, but looks like this is done second try. So, if you fail it like that, you have to ride out of the room as Lackey. If you get off Lackey to dismount, you will soft lock. You will be stuck forever. If a Dark Koopa first strikes you while you're riding Lackey, you'll soft lock. Alright, let me pause here. So, like, right here. Where's my frame advance? I don't know if I have it or not. Doesn't look like I have it. Here it is. Okay. So right here, I start holding up left, and the black part of Mario's hat, the bill of his hat, is lined up with this black line here. I use that as my visual cue for where to stand. And I'm just gonna frame advance until I jump. This is me holding up left to make sure I have what I'm looking for. Jump up left. And then you just very slowly, and then you rotate to up. And then once you're high enough up, Lackey will teleport you down to him, and you'll clip through the block. And then you hold left to enter the loading zone. I'll put that in full motion now. What is up with my... Here it is. Okay. I'll let that play out in full motion now so you can see the whole thing. Do be aware that there is the chance that Lackey can just fly up to you, and that ruins the whole setup. I think if you happen to let go of the control stick while moving, he'll fly up to you. So this life shroom is faster than the one that's written in the route, but I misused it. I'll explain later. But yeah, if Lackey ends up flying up to you, if you didn't press C down to get on Lackey, you can set up the lineup again onto the block. But if you are on Lackey, you have to reload the room to try the trick again. So this is Peach Warp. Doing this lets us skip the first half of Chapter 7. The clip isn't too precise, but you need to make sure you're holding the right angles out of bounds. This Slacky teleport here is frame perfect, so practice that. Hold up right after falling out of bounds. Entering Crystal Palace here, we're gonna go down and get this blue key. The movement I do here is consistent between these encounters, but I messed it up on the way back. So you want to spin past the first one, jump in between both of them, and then spin past the second. But I messed it up here and waited too long. So this is Mirror Clip. You're basically setting up a really long-winded Lackey teleport onto the other side of the mirror so you could clip through it. It's decently lenient. You have 3 frames to hit C down after moving up, but I missed it here. But it is required to do since it does skip a fight with Duplagos. If for some reason you don't want to do this method or this trick, you would have to up and away the Duplagos, which is not ideal because it's slow. Bombette. The real Bombette is the 4th one. So you would hammer the rest. For this first Clubba fight, you're just gonna kill the Clubba with jump ×2 and bomb. Because it'll cause the Magic Koopa to run away. For the second fight, you're gonna click up and away. If a Clubba dinks, you want to switch to Paracarry and Airlift. If the Magic Koopa doesn't run away, then you do nothing with Bombat and he'll run away on his own. If 2 Clubbas dink, then I think the best thing to do is up and away again. This next fight is supposed to be Shooting Star Power Bomb, but that Sewer's Life Stream I grabbed was not where I thought it was. So, ideally you don't do that. And if you do, then I hope you know how to block these attacks. But yeah, if you don't grab that Sewer's Life Shroom, then your Shooting Star will be Mash A. If you do grab it, then it's not. In terms of following the route exactly, then that was incorrect on my part. So there's a trick you can do here called Cooper Puzzle Skip. I didn't do the lineup because I forgot about it, since it's not a thing on the English version of the game, which is what randomizers played on. But you can back it up by lining up Mario's nose with that golden line on the wall, moving up, and buffering a spin, and then spinning right. You can do... That's how you would do it normally. Is before shooting Cooper into the wall, you would line Mario up on the wall. Move into place, then shoot Cooper, and then simply spin. Buffer your spin, and then spin again. So this is another fight you can get 3-capped on and lose your run to. So it's a good idea to save beforehand. So with this fight, it's pretty unique. You're going to switch to Watt on this turn with Quick Change, and Electro Dash one of the bits. You're going to do this twice. You need to block Crystal King's attacks twice. He's going to shoot 4 bits out overall. You need to block 2. Otherwise, just keep charging. Electro Dash here. So charge one more time here, do nothing, and hope you get a 5-cap. What is this? I don't know why that white bar is there. Let me see. There we go. So we are going to have to watch the Peach cutscene again, where she gets taken away by Bowser. This is just so we can activate Chapter 8. So just hold B like usual. So heading into Chapter 8 now, you're gonna want to upgrade Sushi at some point before heading into it. There are 2 upgrade blocks available to you. There's either the one coming up in the next room. This one is slightly faster than the alternative, but this one does have a Clubba to worry about, which can be scary. If you don't want to deal with him, you can upgrade Sushi in the sewers after leaving Shiver City. Hitting this one on the stairs is only a little bit faster. It's not too much. Once you leave this area here, you're gonna want to go to the right and grab this Repel Gel. Very essential into having for the final Bowser fight. For Starway coming up, if you want to do this well, you want to pay attention to how I'm doing this movement, and listen for when the enemies notice you. I played it super safe there. On the first one, you can spin straight right past them once you hear him notice you. And on the other two, once they notice you, you can jump straight down, and they'll lose you, and you can spin right past them. It takes a little bit of practice since the camera in that room is really awkward, but it's not the worst thing. So this life stream is what's written in the route to grab. The only one you're required to grab. You don't need it, technically, but you should always just get it if you're playing this route. Because if you don't, there is a chance that final Bowser can kill you. If you get unlucky. So this here is block clip. This skips having to do the basement. It's as easy as it looks. You just line it up and jump up and para-carry over. It's important to do that since it skips out on some fights in the basement. And just saves a lot of time in general. Pretty easy strat, all things considered. Coming up here is Fast Flood Room. You technically don't have to do this since you have sushi. But it's not too bad to learn. You just have to be careful. Because there is a way you can soft lock here. If you end up in the main body of the room in the water. But it's not too bad. I think in this run I played it a little risky. But you can mitigate all of the risk in this part of the run by just using sushi. Does this work? I don't think this works. No. I had to reset this up. So yeah, with some precise movement out of bounds, you can jump straight under where the key is and do a Cooper super jump. I think I also played the escape fairly risky too. No, I didn't. Okay. So if you walk off bounds, or off the ledge, and just hold down after, you can always get to the loading zone with no risk. And this is cannonless here. You want to line up on the wall here and clip out with para-carry. It's a little precise. All of these tutorials can be found on Paper Mario Archives for these tricks. And this Dry Bones on the right, he has a chance of hitting you with a first strike. If you get hit, you're unlucky. Sorry. That's just how it is with that guy. And the movement for this Hammer Brother is consistent. If you do what you see here, he'll never first strike you. The answers for this are 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. And if you get some of these wrong for some reason, the final two questions are 3 and 2. So for this fight coming up, you're gonna click up and away. And if you get one Dupligos that stays from it, you airlift it. If you get 2 Dupligos, I think up and away's faster to do again. If you get more than one up and... if you have to do more than one airlift, then you have to go back and hit the heart block. You need at least 22 FP going into this fight. This was me checking if there was a rebadge, because I'm so used to the risky route, since I didn't run this route for very long. This is another fight that has a 2% chance of straight up just killing you for no reason. I believe this is the last fight in the game that can do that. Alright, charge again. Switch the bow here. doing this so we can get an extra charge in. So charge here. And hope that you get 5 at least. I think this got 4. Okay, 5. So 5 kills there. If you get 4, you have to press out of sight and click Starstorm. If you get 3, your best bet is to switch to Watt and click Power Shock and hope it works. Because you're probably not going to max out the bar on that one. But yeah, pretty consistent fight when you're not getting 3 capped. Make sure to do those re-equips and eat the jam and jelly before you walk through that door. Having power jump is super important for this fight. This fight is pretty easy. It's very hard to lose, as long as you press the action command button. But there is some variance to it. Ideally, you get at least 5 on one of your bounces. So I got 4 there. And I believe this one's a 3. Yeah, so if you get RNG like this, you're gonna have to deal with this cutscene and another turn of Bowser attacking. But Star Shield doesn't really do anything. It's not that powerful in this fight. You can just power jump through it. Even if you get 2 3 caps on this fight, you can still win. So there's nothing to worry about. I think if you get 2 3 caps, you have to power jump twice. I would just spam power jump, to be honest. Very easy fight. If you're not confident, I would recommend saving here. Final Bowser's always a little bit spooky, no matter what fight you do for this guy. And be sure to do this equip. It's very important. You need to take off Speedy Spin for Fire Shield. Fire Shield is the reason this whole fight even works. So, for this fight, it's the same as the hallway Bowser fight. Go for as highest caps as you can. Whenever you're doing bounces in this fight, you always want to make sure you're going for the highest bounce that you can, since you need to get some extra damage. Extra damage is being defined as any damage you get after a 3 cap, because 3 is what's most likely gonna happen in this phase. So that bounce started at 6, 5, 4, so 15 is the least you're guaranteed in this fight, or with your bounce starting there. So anything after 15 is extra damage, so I got 2 4-caps there. So I ended up with 6 extra damage. I believe you need 7 extra damage. Let me see if I can verify that. This is the very famous Kamikupa fight. Just mash A and hold B. Okay, yeah, you need at least 7 extra damage, so in this scenario, I only need 1 more 4-cap to be good on damage. I guess I should start explaining the upcoming fight as well. So, for the final Bowser fight, there's a set of fights that can happen. And it's all dependent on what Bowser chooses to do on what turn. So, for this fight, it'll all be linked in the route document. You initially want to start by following the beamless fight. And depending on what turn he does his Star Shield is where you want to hop to. So the most common fight is usually turn 4, Star Shield. But you have to be sure to pay attention to what turn you're on. Don't know if you heard that, but if you did, bless up to my dad. So yeah, make sure to practice. At the very least, Butt Stomp, Claw, and Fire, you have to hit those blocks. Wave is also something that can happen. Since the Wave won't hit Mario, he can't do Wave to hit Mario, but it can hit your partner, and if your partner isn't able to attack, you're probably gonna lose. So switch to Sushi, do Water Block. Power Jump, switch to Paracarry Shell Shot. Block again. Now you can start power bouncing, since that's a guaranteed peril setup. So bounce, press out of sight. Alright, this is where he can start doing shields, is on that turn there. So turn 4, Repel Gel here, because we'll die if he hits us. Alright, turn 4 Star Shield, pretty normal. So, get rid of his Star Shield immediately with Peach Beam. Now we're going to switch to Watt and use Turbocharge. This gives us a little bit of extra damage. So yeah, on that turn, if he does wave, you have to block with your partner. Switch back to bow one more time. Add a sight. Honestly, this fight was overkill. I've only gotten 4 and 5 caps. But bounce one more time. And he is gone. If you made it to this point, congrats. You beat the game. All that's left now is the epilogue. So, I did mention earlier this run, when recorded, was a 258, more or less. I had to scrap the recording because of some OBS issues, which is still lingering in this recording here, but this is all I had to work with. The only part that I cut out was the early lackey attempts, because I legitimately failed it for 3 minutes, and didn't seem very necessary to show. But even with a run that was kind of sloppy in a lot of spots, you can still get a good time with this route. I made a lot of mistakes and I still sub-3'd on this category, or this route. So, definitely don't need to do things like bow skip for a long time. But yeah, if you have any questions about anything, be sure to join the Discord. Look at Paper Mario Archives, it'll have everything you need regarding any category, any trick for this game, anything speedrunning related. And we're always willing to help out in the Discord if you have any questions. But yeah, there's not too much left of the run besides the epilogue, and a lot of it is just holding B like you see me doing here. So there is one last trick you can do in the run to save some time. This saves about 10 seconds or so. All you have to do is hold down. Right before Mario gets entering the pipe, you can hold it super early, like right here. If you're just holding down as Mario enters the pipe, this skips Luigi. This little cutscene with Luigi here. This equip here saves like a second. Maybe a second and a half if you do it right, and the movement correctly. But yeah, Luigi skip saves about 10 or so. Just hold down and you get it easily. And once you're through these doors, you just hold B. And time ends when Peach raises her hands up. And that's it. That is the end of Paper Mario All Cards. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the Discord. Check out Paper Mario Archives. Check out Pape Races. We'll be hosting a lot of events in the coming future, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching, and good luck on learning this category.